My name is Natalie Joy.
And I am Cammie D. You're listening to Your Energy Minds,
where we discuss physical, mental, emotional, and energy bodies. We will share topics on how you can ignite your human experience and fuel your life's purpose.
Think of us as your intuitive soul sisters, riding alongside you on your journey. We are Your Energy Minds. Hi, welcome back to Energy Minds. Today we are starting a series on survival of the empath. What type of person are you? Are you a highly sensitive person or are you an empath?
We're going to talk about the difference between the two. They're often interchangeable, a highly sensitive person and an empath, but there are actually differences between the two. So we want you to think about what we talk about today, ask yourself these questions, and if you're not a highly sensitive person or an empath, I'm pretty sure you've met one in your life. So listen to some of these explanations of the term highly sensitive person and empath. It's just typical terms you'll hear and see if any of those resonate. So a highly sensitive person is also referred to as an HSP, if you've heard that term before. And they just have a heightened sensitivity to sensory input, emotions, and environmental stimuli. They may be more affected by bright lights, loud sounds, strong smells. They often process information more deeply, which can lead to feeling overwhelmed or busy in a chaotic environment. HSPs may experience strong emotional reactions to art, music, and nature, and they tend to be more introspective.
And an empath are individuals who have an innate ability to sense and feel emotions of others. They can pick up on emotional states and those around them, often to the point of feeling those emotions as if they were their own. Empaths are usually very compassionate and may feel compelled to help others in distress. While many empaths may also be HSPs, not all HSPs are empaths. An HSP may feel overwhelmed by their own emotions and sensory input without necessarily having the ability to deeply sense others' feelings.
While both HSPs and empaths, they both experience that heightened sensitivities. HSPs primarily respond to sensory and emotional input, while empaths focus more on the emotions and feelings of others. So as I think of a highly sensitive person, I also think of people who have heightened sense of smell, sound, touch. You think of some children or adults who may have autism or be on the spectrum. You can have some of those sensory issues without necessarily having the energy portion that we like to focus on, which is the energy of an empath is feeling someone else inside their body as if it's their own. That HSP is more bothered by outside exterior things, still bothers them on the inside, but they're not actually feeling someone else's feelings.
Yes, for example, an empath, like sometimes I feel like an empath, when they're telling us, when someone's telling them a story, they get so emotionally involved in what's going on with that person that they can feel their pain, if it's happy, if it's sad, even deeper than sometimes that the person feels, to what's going on with them. So empathic people, they're just prone to feeling other people's emotions.
Yeah, and they can't necessarily let go of it by changing. If a HSP is in an environment where they feel uncomfortable, or they're wearing a piece of clothing that's uncomfortable, or some sound is too loud. Often HSPs will wear headphones at concerts because it's actually, even for people who aren't, it can be too loud, but it's an amplified loudness to them that bothers them. But an empath doesn't always let it go when they leave the environment. It's like they take the energy with them, they feel the sadness for the person, and often don't realize that it's not theirs. So they struggle with some depression and anxiety that's coming from something other than their own internal compass. It's coming from someone else.
Yeah, and empaths, they deal with a lot of emotions, like you said, Natalie, trying to figure out like which one's theirs. They carry it around, and if you don't even know you're an empath, you sometimes you could become a little depressed because you're just taking on emotions from people every time you walk into a store, whether you walk into school, no matter where you are, the gym, you seem to grab onto people's emotions. And by the time, at the end of the day, sometimes they're piled up on you, and you can't distinguish which is your emotions or their emotions.
Yeah, it's very confusing. So in this series, Survival of the Empaths, we're going to go through some questions to ask yourself if you're one of these two things, how you survive as an empath, and some of our experiences. Both Cammie D and myself are both definitely empaths, and we didn't figure that out till later in life, that's something that describes how our energy works in the world and how we interact with other people's energy. So join us for our next episode, and we'll see you next time. We would love it if you'd take a minute to like this podcast episode, share it with your friends and family that are open and interested in energy, and we'd really appreciate it. We'd also love to hear from you if you have any comments or questions, you have any topics you want to hear us talk about. We'll have lots of guests who will touch on lots of the areas that we talked about today and much, much more. But you can email us at yourenergyminds@yahoo.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at yourenergyminds.